Hey everybody, welcome to 4Player Podcast. This is our first E3 podcast of 2018. My name is Nick Henderson. I'm joined by Brad Simons,
Yo,
Nolan Hedstrom,
how's it going, everybody?
And Christopher Guthridge.
Hello.
Brad's actually going to be here for the first few minutes of the podcast, so we'll get to him in just a second, and then we'll have Chris Davis fill in. But as I mentioned before, this is the first podcast of E3 2018. It's Sunday, June 10th. We just finished recording or watching the Microsoft E3 press conference. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about. Do we want to say anything about yesterday's EA conference? EA.
We can talk about FIFA a bit, yeah.
I don't want to talk about FIFA.
I guess it's really
God.
only Anthem. Thoughts on Anthem is pretty much it, right?
So far we're two conferences into E3, and we're going to be watching the Bethesda conference a little bit later tonight, and then recording the second part of this episode. But of course, while it's fresh on our minds, we wanted to talk about Microsoft's conference. There's actually a lot of stuff that was covered and announced and shown for the very first time. And we're not going to really do this in the exact order it was shown, because there's some things Brad I know wants to talk about.
I want to talk about all the cool shit now.
Yeah, so let's open with a couple highlights here. Brad, which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with Cyberpunk 2077.
Literally the last thing they showed.
Yeah.
And also the first time we've seen it.
Yes. So, of course, we've all been waiting for the eventual reveal of Cyberpunk 2077 from CD Projekt Red, and we finally got it.
It is a little odd that they ended with that. I mean, I know CD Projekt Red's a big deal now after Witcher 3, but like it's still something that a lot of people are probably just going to play on PC, and you know it is on other platforms, so it's a little weird that.
But it's also nice that Microsoft kind of broke the mold, and they finally closed this thing other than Halo or Gears.
That's true.
Yeah.
Right?
Also, there was no Call of Duty on display here.
Yeah.
I just noticed that.
Well, that's because Sony's kind of had that.
Oh yeah, they have some kind of exclusive deal with that. But let's talk about Cyberpunk 2077.
Cyberpunk 20. This is kind of exciting, obviously, right? CD Projekt Red.
Yes.
And this is the first time we saw it, and honestly, it has a very different look than I think that first teaser trailer that they showed all those years ago.
At least everyone in this room was thinking dystopian cyberpunk future.
Yeah,
but it's kind of like colorful. It's still dystopian because any cyberpunk is dystopian, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, well, okay, there is like dystopian elements to cyberpunk as a genre. It usually kind of looks like that. I think visually their touchstone is something more like Blade Runner or something.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily like what I like about what we saw in this trailer is that aesthetically they're keeping that like 1980s touchstone for the aesthetics.
Yeah,
because
sure.
that's kind of where the genre flourished. The RPG Cyberpunk, I believe, was originally published in the 80s, late 80s or something like that. So you get that kind of like everything looks like it's something futuristic of a futuristic version of something from the 80s, like the hero's car. You get all those those 80s like American.
It's like
punks
Back to
with
the
the
Future.
mohawks.
It's like what Back to the Future thought the future was going to be. It's like that style. Yeah,
exactly.
But like I think the biggest surprise.
Perfect.
Yeah,
that's
that first teaser was very dark.
Yeah.
So this almost seems like a shift.
But they also did a cover story and something.
No, they haven't done any.
No, there
coverage.
was some kind of coverage where they were showing concept art of the city, and it looked a lot like. It looked like it was like broad daylight, bright colors. Like
I don't
remember where this was, but I remember
broad
seeing
daylight
this stuff.
cyberpunk gets me a little worried.
Why?
Really?
Well, no. I think it's gonna be fine here, but the initial look from this almost made me think of like Ready Player One.
Yeah,
Which
a little bit.
made me a little nervous, I guess.
But also, I think a lot of
and I think the main character and his tone was very
bland
kind of
AF.
Ready Player One.
also
My complaint about that is the main
it's
character just looked bland.
But a couple
I think
things
it's
about
still
that.
that, like-
First of all, what we saw here today was predominantly like kind of like a tonal trailer, right? It was meant to kind of show you the tone of the game and like what the world looks like,
And the main character.
and the main character. But we also know nothing about the main character, what his motivations are, how he acts, how he talks.
Hey,
Well,
really.
I will say,
a little bit.
Brad,
a little
I
bit.
will say I hated Bayek when I first saw him.
Yeah.
I thought he was fucking stupid. And then when I finally played the game, I was like, I actually do like Bayek.
I don't even think this guy's going to be bad, but it is a
no.
weird tonal shift for a studio that's been doing Geralt for so many years, who's like this very different character. I feel like he's this older, grizzled. I mean,
I feel like these guys kind of fit in the same lane. I feel like this guy kind of fits in the same lane as Geralt.
Like he feels like
they're
a
both like
futuristic
that
Geralt.
kind of like kind of hard ass, like cool guy hero. Geralt has kind of evolved a little bit from the benefit of having 3 games and a bunch of books, and they've kind of like found a voice for him, and they've kind of played up his kind of like aging, within the third one with Ciri. But I still think that this. First of all, do we know? Are we taking this as 100% dogma that character is like a written main character?
I mean,
for this game?
don't you think that CD Projekt Red would do that again because that was really successful?
But here, there's talk. People are kind of dissecting the the coding they did at the beginning, where they kind of led into the trailer, and like people are suggesting that there's a character creator in the game.
That'd be interesting, but
that would definitely be a departure from The Witcher.
That lead character is such a big part of The Witcher.
Yeah, I kind of remember them talking about player created characters.
Also, I'm a little uneasy going into this because my love for The Witcher games came from started with these books and kind of seeing how the game sort of adapted that character and that world, and I don't have that going into this, so I'm a little.
It's a blank slate.
It just makes me a little nervous.
Well, I mean, this is just going to be the scenario where you had the books first, but now you're just going to have the game first. I'm not saying they're going to write some books about it. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I think you're just going to have to. I don't know. Go with that. Yeah, I would say CD Projekt Red had definitely a starting ground to go off with their Geralt. In the game.
They made their version their own as well.
This isn't something they invented, though. This exists.
I know. No, well, the universe,
there's material for this world out there.
In regards to the character career, whatever, I mean, I'm sure it's beginning like a Mass Effect type scenario where, you just make the character look the way you look, and then they're just going to...
That's true.
I think they're going to play out a character.
Especially because the Cyberpunk universe.
Cyberpunk, it's like...
customization.
Whatever the tabletop one's, like Cyberpunk 2037 or something like that.
Not futuristic enough.
It's a tabletop RPG. Like, a huge part of that is in making your character. I would imagine if they were going to adapt that as a video game, that would carry over. That would be like the first thing to carry over.
Yeah,
maybe.
You know.
So honestly, though, I'm pretty pleased with the way it looks, and I'm really hoping somewhere this week we see another demonstration of maybe like a chunk, like a vertical slice of the game, because that seems very much like it's jumping around from set pieces and stuff.
I want to see a gameplay trailer.
Yeah,
because when they first revealed Witcher 3, it was like
every time they show a Witcher game, they show like the cinematics.
Now the one thing I'm a little worried about that is because the first time that we ever saw The Witcher 3 was at E3, and that was kind of like a behind closed doors theater thing, and I don't think the public saw it for like a year.
Probably
after that.
Well, Nick, go watch it then.
I know CD Projekt Red is doing doing the same kind of thing they did with The Witcher this week, and hopefully we're gonna check that out. But I wouldn't be entirely surprised if beyond that, like, the public doesn't actually get a look at it until.
Well, Nick, when you go in for your appointment, just bring your phone and just record a little bit.
Oh yeah, I'll be sure to do that. They'll never invite us back. All right, so other ones that you wanted to kind of talk about before you leave.
I'd like to talk about Devil May Cry 5, the most poorly kept secret.
I feel like there's a lot of poorly kept secrets.
But this one for a long time. I feel.
But still, it was really nice to actually, even though we knew it was the chances of it being here were pretty damn high. It was nice to actually see it and see what the game actually looks like. Because by the way, it did not look at all like what I was expecting it to look like.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what to expect, and that's, I expected Dante, to be honest, right?
Yeah,
because the series has been gone for so long, especially this version of the series. It's been 10 years. Yeah. So to see Nero again is very
Now, is the only reason that we're assuming it's Nero is because we saw him rev the sword handle?
That, and he's wearing blue, and...
But
you mean it might not be Nero?
Like, what if it's Dante with just cut his hair?
We saw Dante at the end of the trailer riding that motorcycle.
Yeah. I mean, what if that was still him, just like a future... the character models looked kind of similar. What if it's...
I can't believe we're going to have the same debate since Devil May Cry 4 about... we're still confused about which character we're looking at between Nero and Dante. The thing I wanted to point out about the trailer, which kind of blew my mind, was I swear to God that the actor they're using for this game is Sam Witwer again, which is the same actor that Days Gone, Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, and I think another high-profile game that I'm forgetting. He's suddenly making the rounds as he's becoming the Nolan North of mocap. Like, he's in everything.
Not sold.
I could be wrong. That's not confirmed, but that looked a lot like him.
So I was kind of talking about it a little bit before we started recording this. I'm a little uneasy going into this. I mean, so on the pro side, it's an Itsuno game.
Yes.
Which, he's been working on Devil May Cry since the second game, and he also did Dragon's Dogma, and he's done a lot of other good stuff for Capcom over the years. Yeah. So that kind of calms me a little bit. But then at the same time, the last Devil May Cry game, the last proper Devil May Cry game was 10 years ago. A lot has changed since then. One, Bayonetta's come out, you know, and that kind of upped the stakes of crazy action in one of these types of games. But also, we live in a world where Itsuno did Dragon's Dogma. So to see that, okay, he is working on Devil May Cry again, and that's fine. But if it's just another Devil May Cry game, while something like Dragon's Dogma was so much more ambitious, it's almost a little bittersweet for me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm excited.
There is a moment in the game when they're showing like combat in Devil May Cry where you see him like swipe his sword, and then you see it looked like witch time, but only affecting the enemy. You see that, like, that big clock kind of appeared on screen, and it like slowed the enemy down, but he was still moving around. But I don't know, that was a really cool effect. But I feel like you're starting to see some of that Bayonetta DNA kind of bleed into Devil May Cry.
Which as crazy as it's going to be, it's probably never going to get as crazy as Bayonetta. So, like, what does that mean? Is that okay? Is that good enough? I mean, like what is this game going to do that's, like, fresh and new for, one, a series that's been gone for 10 years, and two, a character action game
but also
is up against,
if you look back
the new God of War, Bayonetta 3.
If you look back at some of the things that he does at the beginning of that trailer, I mean, there's some crazy bad shit. Like, he does a lot of stuff that was reminiscent to me of, like, Devil May Cry 3. At the beginning of the trailer, where he's like, the car is flipping and he's running around the outside of the car while it's flipping through midair.
I fucking hope so. I hope that they have that cutscene director. That has been working on it since that worked on 3, 4, and Bayonetta.
Someone in chat, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, but someone in chat pointed out that it's apparently been confirmed that there are 3 playable characters in the game. So I'm assuming Nero, Dante, and maybe that female character that we see in there, or maybe just a character they haven't announced yet. So.
Also, it's been confirmed that Itsuno is directing, and it's the core team at Capcom.
Core team at Capcom.
But what does that mean? Like, that's the thing. Capcom is such a different company these days. Like, what are their core teams even anymore?
But like, at that point, like, why even worry about it? Like,
I'm not. I'm just, it's
because Brad's a pessimist.
It's well, I'm actually very excited about it. It's not Virgil. It's the same voice actor as Nero. It's Nero. It's Nero's sword. Why would anybody else be using that?
He has a robot arm. Like, his hand, you see it. There's a cutscene where you see him like clutching his arm, and it's like been cut off. Yeah. And the next thing you see him, he has his like crazy robot hand.
Was he riding his rocket arm?
Yes, like a skateboard almost.
Yeah, that was interesting.
There's gonna be some crazy shit.
I'm excited.
There's a fucking demon that like eats a car in his chest and then like spits out the metal back at him. That was crazy.
I think I will of course be excited. I'll play it day one, like no question, right? Yeah. I think my unease actually more comes from, like, how interested are other people going to be? Like, is this going to be an unsuccessful game?
I've made my opinions noted about, like, I feel like just because of the fact that DMC exists, it's just like this series is like a breeding ground for just negativity. Well, like, I mean, I that's how I feel, man. What do you mean to say?
Nick, honestly, I think
you're already starting to see people upset about the same shit they were upset about with DMC because.
But I think you're putting my concerns on everybody else.
I think that's
dude. There are people
Nick,
in our own chat that were talking about this.
Every single game out there gets shit on by a large amount of people, and I think it's just a scenario where in this case it's a game you like, and you see some people shitting on it, and you're thinking, like, I promise
I'm not trying to be defensive. I'm just saying
you like get shit. It happens.
I'm not trying to be defensive about the game. I am literally just pointing out that, like...
But I'm saying don't worry about it.
Devil May Cry 3 and 4 were both incredibly well-respected games, very well-received, and then DMC came out, and there was just a swarm of controversy around it, and I just feel like we're kind of ending up back in the situation because the tone and the look of this game, based on the first trailer, is already pretty dramatically different.
But at least it's not for, like, the wrong reasons this time. Well, like last time it was because it was a Western studio, because they completely changed Dante, and people were negative going into that for those reasons, and maybe those are superficial reasons. These, it's back to the core team, so they're not upset about it for those reasons. They're just upset. I mean, they're nervous about the first look, and that's like a more honest uneasiness.
But I can also say one of the reasons that I'm kind of excited about this is because it looks like a sequel to Devil May Cry 4, but it also looks like it has some of the DNA from DMC. Like, there were parts where I was watching, I was like, this looks like fucking DMC, like Ninja Theory's DMC a little bit in terms of the way of its tone and the way the characters are animating and stuff. I don't know. It's obviously not like it's Itsuno, like you said, but I feel like maybe there was some effect that DMC had on the direction of this game.
2 more things I want to talk about before we bounce. First, quickly, the Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition is really exciting for me, and I think it should be for others as well.
I'm excited.
One, because Tales of Vesperia is sort of like the overall consensus as like the definitive Tales game. It was the last one that had like a really big, JRPG budget. It was the last one that had this big explorable, open world like you expect from a classic JRPG. The modern ones almost feel a little budget in comparison. I mean, they're still good at what they're good at, but this was the last one that was felt really grand.
Yeah.
And but most importantly, is that this is based on the PS3 release that came later after the Xbox 360 version, but it only got released in Japan, and it had new playable characters, so much more new content, and for years and years and years, people have wanted them to release that version over here. There's that famous tweet where Namco, like official Namco Twitter is like, hey, we're listening, man. You tell us what Tales games you want. We just want you to know we're listening. And the first Twitter reply is, what about Vesperia on PS3? And the reply was, no, not that one. It's the funniest Twitter exchange.
So in the Devil May Cry box art, they released it.
They've already released box art?
Wario tweeted it. So it's definitely Dante, Nero, and
is it another dude?
It looks like Noctis. It looks like fucking Noctis.
Damn it. Okay, first of all, I'm going to be...
Wait. But he has a sleeve now?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Why can't it be a lady? Come on. Why is it so hard to make Devil May Cry games
How do you
with
know that's
playable
not
ladies?
a lady?
I'm not even saying lady. I'm saying a lady, a female... Oh, my God.
Also,
they don't want to step on Bayonetta's toes.
Also, this version of Vesperia is coming to PC and PS4 and Xbox as well, so that's very cool.
Okay. What else? What was the other one you want to
Brad,
talk
did you
about,
want to say
Brad?
anything about Anthem before you leave?
No. Well, I wanted to say Sekiro.
Oh, yeah, Sekiro.
Sekiro.
Yeah.
Shadows Die
This
Twice.
is the
Guys, that's Noctis.
and Switch. No, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. This was the thing that was teased at the Game Awards last year, and everyone was like, what is this? Is it Bayonetta 2? I mean, Bloodborne 2? Is it Tenchu? Is it Kuon? Everyone's been talking about this thing for months, but recently you've kind of getting speculation out there saying that, it's kind of like a blend between all of those, or sort of, right? Maybe even
And it turns out that was accurate.
Yeah, it turns out that it's kind of From Software's Neo. Which is still exciting, maybe a little less exciting because we had Neo and Neo was really good, and we're probably going to get
honestly,
another Neo.
if this would have come out before Neo,
you would be jumping from the rooftops.
Yeah, all of us would be insane. And I agree with you, Brad. I think it's because we've all played Neo, and Neo was a great fucking game. And a lot of our comments were, I want Souls games to do this. I want Souls, some of the styles they did in it, some of the ways you interacted with the environment, how your weapons and stuff worked. And I think we're going to get some of that in this, and that doesn't mean it's going to be bad.
Now, all I want to say is that I'm a little disappointed. I'm really excited, but I'm a little disappointed because I was straight up expecting the tone of this game to be super Japanese horror,
more horror-y
and
than it
there
is.
looks like there are elements of it, but the whole trailer kind of took place out in broad daylight, and it didn't seem very
there was some dark kind of.
I think it's because people were saying,
but
Bloodborne
looked darker than this.
Bloodborne was always very dark.
I wanted Fatal Frame Souls.
But it's funny because if you think about it, in terms of you want a horror game from Software, I was expecting this to be it, but now that I've seen this, I feel like Bloodborne was more of a horror game than this.
Maybe
so far, based on what we've seen so far.
Maybe. I mean, it's definitely Souls looking, but there's a grappling hook, so maybe there'll be more and he did the sidestep jump that was way more acrobatic or athletic than anything any Souls characters ever done.
More ninja-esque.
I kind of want to watch that again.
So maybe you have more. Yeah, we should have watched that again. So maybe there's more interesting navigation, and we know there's going to be excellent level design, right? Because it's From Software. So ultimately, it's still super fucking exciting. But the Activision thing worries me a little bit.
That came out of nowhere.
What's the over/under on this actually being an action RPG though?
Not at all. It's a Souls game. I mean, right?
I mean, the character looked exactly the same the whole way through. Was using the same weaponry. I mean, it kind of reads like a character action.
There are details breaking about this
about Sekiro.
Yeah, and I have a whole bunch of key features here. Thank you, Chris Davis, for passing. This is, I guess, from Reset Error. Yeah. Kill ingeniously. From Software delivers their best in-class combat. Blah blah blah. Exploration is key. Players will experience the thrill of exploration, discovery, and security. Blah blah blah. Through exploration, players can uncover new items, meet new characters, and encounter hidden enemies. Armed says gameplay is centered around sword combat, enhanced by a variety of prosthetic arm attachments that supplement or change the way the player fights.
So that was
achieving strategic mastery of Sekiro or the one-armed wolf's techniques and abilities. From prosthetic tools, swordplay to stealth, and grappling hook, it's no easy feat.
I wonder if that was one of the things was he took that arm. It looked like it seemed like his arm. It almost turned into like a Japanese fan, but like metal and like spun out and like and all the sections.
See, now I want to watch the trailer again for sure.
Yeah.
To overcome difficulties and bring each situation under control, gamers must discover, integrate, and use a variety of new tools when they head into combat. Play as a highly talented shinobi in the service of a young lord raised in isolation. After suffering defeat at the hands of shadowy Ashina samurai seeking the unique heritage of your master, the two of you are separated. Deep in the mountains, in a dilapidated temple, you will reawaken to your fate. You must take back your master and exact revenge on your enemy at all costs. Shadows Die Twice is a hardcore game worthy of the name From Software. Miyazaki designed Sekiro Shadows Die Twice this way. Fans of From Software will find the gameplay challenging yet fun and rewarding. Reimagined World. The reimagining of Japanese aesthetic blend of withered yet vivid world of the late 1500s Sengoku Japan as the age of warring states nears its end. Witness a world brought to its knees by constant bloodshed, a ravaged world. Explore these environments rich with From Software's intricate design and steep with secrets to discover. I was kind of hoping...
I mean, they didn't say the word RPG.
Yeah.
Action game.
I was kind of expecting them to also...
But that's okay.
So we talked about this. One thing I will say, if you're curious, there was a bunch of rumors about this, and we actually recorded a 4Player Plus bonus podcast where we talked about those rumors. Yeah. A lot of them have proven true from this thing, but there hasn't been additional details on it. But they talked about things like a day-night cycle, which is something that From Software has not done.
That's also something that like a big open world game would have too.
Yeah, absolutely. So
you're probably going to get that Soulsian map style.
So also,
which is everything.
If you want to hear all the rumor stuff that maybe wasn't covered in this, I would say go download that episode. It's on the site at 4playernetwork.com. But yeah, I'm super excited about this, and I definitely want to watch the trailer again after we record this.
And with that, I think I need to bounce. Or Anthem? Did y'all want to talk about Anthem?
Yeah, real quickly. You want to just so EA was yesterday, and the only thing really that we can talk about much is, I guess, the Anthem footage that they showed, which I think looks pretty fun.
I think it looks pretty cool. I feel like the overall reaction has been very like antagonistic, and I think it's because, hey, it's not Mass Effect. I'm sorry Mass Effect had to die this horrible death, and I'm sorry this is not that. Yeah. I know it's BioWare, but you know, it's okay that they're trying something new. What they have shown, though, does look good, right? I mean, people are making it sound like the stuff that they've shown looks bad.
This whole, I don't know, the whole flight and hover mechanics alone seem like enough to kind of completely flip over that whole...
I know people are getting Destiny vibes from this. But
so hold on. So for me, Brad, it's not that everything I've seen is bad. It's just I still don't really get what the game is.
That's because
you know what I'm saying? Like for me, it seems like is this like is it Destiny? Is it like a fucking Evolve map where you just drop in, do a bunch of shit, and then leave? You know, like I still don't understand the mechanics, the base core of this game.
They haven't been very clear about it, but I think it's fairly safe to assume that. And this is whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not saying. I'm just saying I'm pretty sure if you look at the way Destiny 2 is structured, I would say that's probably a pretty safe bet to assume it's going to be taking some inspiration from that.
Probably. Maybe
but that doesn't mean anything.
With
like
an actual connected open world or something. But
sure.
It
but
does
I mean,
look
because
cool.
of all like the crazy navigation, the verticality of the world, I honestly think it looks cooler than Destiny.
It's no fucking wonder they haven't given us any details about it, because the second they do, someone's going to try to burn down the studio.
Yeah. It's sad that like I don't know. I mean
as long as Dragon Age still gets to exist, I'm okay.
They do some really the footage we saw alone does some really cool stuff with like you said, the transitions from like flying in the air to going underwater seem amazing. Cool. Especially I want to see like how deep that rabbit hole goes, so to speak.
I want to see how deep that water thing
that's
goes.
What I'm saying.
And I agree with y'all on that, and that's what I want. That's what I'm talking about. I want to see gameplay where you actually see how big the world is. Where you actually do you have a destination? You start here and you need to get here, and then you got to go back. That's the thing I'm curious about. I'm trying to understand that.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
That conforms pretty closely to the way it looked when they first announced the game.
Yeah.
If you remember that big demo
they were in
a
a town.
There was a lot of like looting and a lot of like, okay, let's go in this direction and do this quest and get this loot.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's like what do they call it in Destiny, like the hub area?
Like the tower?
Yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if it's like the tower, but they have like branching like paths and you just gotta go off.
Remember like they were showing a character in that hub area too, and it was all in first person, and they were doing like cutscenes and story stuff, and then they left that area in their suit, and then it was the third person.
Yeah, I did. That was from the first time we saw it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I did forget about that. Okay.
But one thing I will say, I've been kind of vocally, I've just in general always been kind of opposed. Anytime I see like online connectivity required, I tense up and I don't like it, and I still don't like it here. But I will say that this game I think looks interesting and fun enough that I will play it. You know what I mean? Like it looks fun enough and original enough and exciting enough for me to get over those kinds of things. I definitely want to give this a try, and I've heard it's got really good reception at Judges Week and stuff like that. So
playable on the floor.
I don't know because I don't think so because EA completely
been
removed
doing-
themselves.
Let me ask you
I
this:
think they've been doing behind
anything
closed
we've talked
doors.
about so far in this podcast. Do you think any of that's going to be playable?
I think the fact that Devil May Cry is spring 2019 makes me think yes.
Devil May Cry, maybe. Yeah.
I also
Cyberpunk. Probably.
I don't think
they're
Cyberpunk's
doing
gonna be playable.
theater presentations. for Cyberpunk.
Sekiro.
I think I know Dying Light 2, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. is
Sekiro
playable.
might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be. I bet that is.
Yeah, because
I
Souls
would
games.
not-
Yeah.
Did
They
they have
showed
a-
a lot of gameplay.
Did they say a
during the
date
trailer.
for that?
I don't.
I don't remember.
That'd be
I don't
cool.
know. I bet Fallout 76 will. I bet there'll be plenty of the stuff that'll be playable
Well,
on the
guys,
show
I
floor.
will be listening to y'all's podcast from LA. I wish y'all safe travels.
Thank you.
Brad, we're gonna see you in like 2 hours.
Oh, that's true.
Don't
Yeah.
say goodbye.
But if you don't see me,
Okay.
you never know.
Well,
Good
you
afternoon,
can just
good
leave the
evening, and
baby,
good night.
and so you have to come back.
Keep
Well,
it
we
nice
hope
quiet.
we see Brad later this evening when we watch the Bethesda conference live. We've been live since noon. We've been
Chris Davis.
playing stuff, and Chris Davis is going to come back in, filling for Brad for the rest of the show. Brad, thank you.
Bye, Brad.
We will see you later.
awkwardly pack all this up now while
y'all
y'all
podcast. That's cool. Anybody watching live can see how a baby crib is, or what do you call that?
Playpen.
a baby,
a playpen
baby
is
crate.
taken apart live on the feed. Okay.
Hello.
Hello, Chris Davis. How are you?
I'm good. Just one quick thing about Devil May Cry 5.
Nope,
Yes.
we already talked about it. Too late.
Too late.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
just want to mention, according to the press release, this is going to be the final entry in the story.
The final entry?
Yes.
Okay.
The final entry in the Devil May Cry franchise.
I think it's kind of funny
What does that mean?
to like assume that they were ever even going to go back to do this entry. I feel like the only reason they're
Yeah.
doing this is because DMC kind of didn't perform as well as.
But
they
also
had.
that also could just imply that like this is the final entry in like Devil May Cry as we know it, and they could just reboot the franchise in a completely
No,
different
of
way.
course
No,
they
no.
could.
The way the press release was written, it said it was bringing to an end the story of Nero and Dante.
Oh well,
Well, that's fine.
Yeah. So which
So-
means we get another Devil May Cry game in 5 years that stars a completely different character,
And the lady character's name is Nico.
Nico.
So
Why do they have to? That also sounds too much like Nero.
It sounds very
Anyways.
similar to Nero. Yeah.
Anyways, so let's go ahead and we've kind of
Ooh,
covered
do you
all,
think, like Nico Bellic, maybe?
maybe.
Nico.
All right, so from this point forward, why don't we kind of go down in the order in which things were shown?
Sure.
Don't want to spend too much time on any given one because there's a lot of stuff that was covered. Actually, I remember what was above that. Nolan, I don't think we even. Okay,
Okay.
that works too. Okay,
Thank
you, Bernadette.
there you go.
Okay, so we're gonna go in order. A lot of stuff was shown at this press conference,
Yeah,
so we're not
there's-
going to spend too much
Yeah,
time
please.
on any
let-
given
we-
one thing.
Feel free to skip some games if none of us care about them.
All right.
Yeah.
And keep it light.
I am going to mention. I know some of you all don't care about it, but Halo. They did open with Halo Infinite.
Of course. Yeah.
And it looks, and it does look like a starkly different direction than I was expecting out of Halo 6, quote unquote.
So they did a press release shortly after Microsoft
Okay.
ended. And that entire thing was a technology demonstrator for their new Slit Space game engine.
Okay, but how representative of that is it of Halo Infinite as a game?
That
is the question.
That was definitely the art style and what they're going for, because evidently they're doing a little update to the art style based on community feedback and a new artist.
They're developing by
design.
committee with Halo 6. Wonderful.
Oh no, they're not. They're not. Supposedly, I don't know.
Anyway, I
um,
mean, I'm just curious because
But they did say specifically in the press release that this is basically Halo 6.
Well, yeah. I mean,
it's all
sure.
about the Master Chief, and it's supposed to continue on from Halo 5.
Yeah, it said 343. The moment I saw 343 was doing it, I was like, oh, this is the continuation.
Well, I mean, 343 will claim credit for like the Master Chief collection, but like 6 different developers actually made that product.
No, I'm talking about they did Halo 3 or 4 and 5. So when I saw 343, I had no doubt this was the next official Halo game.
Sure.
All right, so let's move on from Halo.
Hasn't,
Unless you have something you want to say.
Well, yeah, it hasn't like Infinite and Infinity, hasn't that kind of become shorthand parlance in Halo terms for online? Wasn't one of their online modes called the Infinity or called the Infinite or something like that?
Well, the Infinity
From
was
Halo
the ship
5
in
or-
which Halo 4 and 5 take place on.
Right. And that was like they had a whole thing where like like the online modes were all combat exercises within the ship. So
Yes.
like the online section was grouped into like a menu section that was called the Infinite or Infinity or something.
I will say this: it did the trailer that we saw today looked a little bit reminiscent of like the environments in Halo 1. Like it was big and open and like green and
So yeah, that's,
which is nice. It's nice to get back to that.
I think what
that
they're
look.
implying is that by calling it Infinite, that it takes place on an open world, an open Halo to explore.
That would be fucking cool.
Sure.
I don't know. What this gives me vibes of like we won't see this again until next E3.
Probably.
So moving right down the list, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Not
Looks
much
like more Ori.
which I'm totally cool with.
I'm down with it.
Not much to say here other than they introduced a really cute little owl, which
That's going to turn evil,
or die
or both.
or both.
turn evil, then die.
But if anybody has not
or
played
die
Ori,
and turn evil.
if anybody has never played Ori and the Blind Forest, what are you doing? That game's so fucking good. Go play it. So we already talked about Sekiro. Fallout 76. I didn't expect them to show this for the first time.
Yeah, neither did
at
I.
Microsoft.
And we didn't see much. I mean, we saw a little bit more of the world. There's some new creature designs, which obviously we knew was coming since it takes a different place in the universe.
It takes place. It's the earliest in the Fallout timeline.
Correct.
They've ever done.
Chronologically, this will be the first Fallout game.
It's like
only
2096.
It's like 20 years after the bombs dropped.
correct.
So
yeah.
one thing this did do for me, because we haven't seen any gameplay of it until this point, was it kind of reassured me that this game.
Well, I knew what it was going to be. Like, it's in Fallout 4's engine. I know it's going to be that. It's just more of how you're going to play it is the question.
Yeah.
Still,
I'm just really hoping after tonight's Bethesda conference that I walk away feeling
sure
like
those
I
questions will be
can
answered.
play this and I can enjoy it the same way I've enjoyed every Fallout game I've played so far.
That trailer seemed to clue into the fact that this is gonna somehow involve some kind of multiplayer thing.
of course it will.
Well, yeah,
we know
we know that, but like
and Vault 76 is actually the control vault in the the
We've
vault
talked about
system.
that.
yeah, I just really
I'm
hope.
just throwing that out
I'm just
there.
saying
Yeah,
I
I
really
know.
hope that when it's all said and done, we've seen what the game is. I feel like there's something there for me. I'm worried it's not. I'm worried it's
Well,
going to
you know what?
completely
We're gonna talk
subvert
about
my-
it tonight.
Yeah,
I
we'll talk
guarantee
about
you.
it tonight after the Bethesda conference.
Yeah.
The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit, which looks like a sidestep in the Life is
Actually-
Strange. What?
According to a press release, that's actually a prequel episode to Life is Strange 2,
Really
previewing the characters that are going to be in Life is Strange 2.
interesting. Well, that's
Okay.
thank you for stepping out in the hall and reading all these press
Well, we know
releases
Nick's
while
an
we're recording.
alcoholic dad in the game.
I
Yeah.
do. The alcoholic
Definitely
dad
look
does
like
look
you.
a little bit like me, I
Beer for
suppose.
breakfast? Shut up, son.
Yep, that's pretty much.
I'll kill you! I'll fucking kill you!
It looked charming, and it definitely. At first we were like, "This is definitely Life is Strange something."
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. They showed Crackdown 3
We've
right
seen
after
it.
delaying it. It was
I
like
will
nothing
agree,
but Terry
it doesn't
Crews.
look beautiful.
It doesn't.
No.
It
It
did
kind
not
of looks
strike
like
me.
Crackdown 2.
Like 3 years ago, that may have looked
Yeah.
beautiful, but I think we've gone well past that point where I don't think that
Did they
quite
just
cuts
delay
anymore.
it for a year just so they could scan in Terry Crews' face and put it in it?
And
Is
all-
he the main character?
Yes,
Probably.
I think
Because
so.
I mean, in the previous Crackdown games, it was a character you created.
You created it, but Chris, they need to sell it somehow. Oh,
But
I mean-
even then, even if you create your
it's a
character,
bad thing to have.
they could potentially. Oh my god, bring the loudest toy in here. Thanks,
Yeah.
thanks, Butters. Even if it was a character creator, depending, they could still like if you're playing a male character, the voice could be Terry Crews, no matter who
Sure,
yeah.
you designed.
as long as they're
God damn it.
muscular.
Yeah, I don't-
Muscular.
muscular,
Yes.
muscular.
That's what you were going to say.
Metro Exodus.
Metro Exodus.
Yes.
Yeah, that looked pretty cool.
I'm impressed by how that looked. That
Did you
looked
play the other
interesting.
one?
I have played all of 30 minutes of Metro before.
I am sorry.
Oh,
It is.
yeah.
It's a cool series. I'm really hoping they kind of lean into the openness of.
That-
of
and
this
I-
Oh, no, they absolutely are.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's one of the
we're gonna
things that excites me.
I mean,
Yeah.
the thing about this game is that it is a cross-continental journey.
Yeah, but it seems like you're going from one open area to another, and that's cool. I just want to see how open those areas are and how much there is to do within each area. I've always loved the like put the gas mask on
Sure.
when you go out and like having to like watch your oxygen and that kind of stuff. I hope that
I know it was a transition, but is it going to be a scenario like I know you had to like switch out your like filters and whatever?
Yeah.
Are you going to have to like wipe off your mask when it's raining? Because they did that as part of a transition. But I'm curious.
No,
as,
you
like,
did that in Last
Oh, you
Light.
did?
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
play Last
yeah,
Light,
it's,
so I don't
it's
know.
it's pretty cool.
Okay,
Like they do
that's
some
good.
cool stuff with that, and I'm
They showed about 1 billion guns.
but they were like doing all kind of
Actually,
like.
they only showed off a handful of guns. That was all customization.
But it was cool because they were showing like how all like they're all like moving pieces and
Sure.
parts and stuff.
Yeah.
Each gun,
Yeah.
which is cool.
And we have an appointment to see that.
we do.
hour.
Oh man, well you do. I don't have that appointment. Have fun.
We got two seats.
Yeah,
I think
Kingdom Hearts
Crispy's
3.
gonna go.
Yeah, and you invited me to go.
Yeah,
Kingdom Hearts 3.
Kingdom Hearts 3.
It's still coming. They saw a couple more worlds, but
Yeah,
whatever.
Frozen. Showing the Frozen
I mean,
world.
unfortunately,
Oh,
we
man.
saw Organization 13.
Someone should check on Tumblr. I bet they're having a heart attack right now.
Has anybody checked on Tumblr? Let's check their polls, please. Are they okay? They showed some Sea of Thieves DLC, Cursed Sails and Forsaken Shores. They didn't really talk much about what they are, so we can't say much about that. I'm sure we'll go into that on a future episode of the show.
Yeah.
Battlefield 5, they showed a single-player cinematic trailer.
For
Looked pretty.
one of the stories.
For Forza Horizon 4, which if I was into racing games, I would probably be all over. But I'm not really into racing games, but it looks beautiful. It takes place in Britain. That was totally a not live
Yeah.
demo.
So
But
those studio acquisitions, some of those
yeah.
were pretty interesting.
Okay, so
that was the next big thing.
I think surprisingly, one of
Yeah.
Microsoft's biggest announcements at this press conference
Was not a game.
was not a game.
Games.
Was that they're finally like investing money and acquiring first party studios.
5 studios.
5 studios, and some are new. Some we haven't. Some
Correct.
are recognizable names though. I think the first one was the Initiative, which is a new
Yeah,
studio. The 2 that really stood out to me though were the Compulsion Games was
Compulsion,
one.
yeah.
So after Gearbox publishes We Happy Few, they have whatever they do after that. Which means that Compulsion can now work with bigger budgets, which
That's
is
true.
cool.
No, yeah.
In fact, all these teams can. So they purchased Undead Labs.
Undead Labs.
Which means
was
if we
kind of,
get State of Decay 3, it could potentially be
it will come out bug free.
potentially bug free, and
maybe.
perhaps bigger in scope and,
Yeah.
and more polished, which is
Yeah.
exciting. I'm sure they're really thrilled about that. And
maybe it'll be Category 5 like they've been pitching it for years.
perhaps, but the biggest one was Ninja Theory.
Yeah.
Microsoft has bought Ninja Theory. Now
That's-
we love Ninja Theory games for the most part, and I know a lot of us here are not huge Xbox players, so that's kind of unfortunate. But this is good for Ninja Theory.
Hey, it'll be on PC.
Yeah, that's true. That is
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Everything we saw today will
PC.
be on PC.
But Ninja Theory will now once again be able to make. They already do really interesting projects with smaller to mid-tier size budgets, right? Like even I think DMC was like not like AAA budget necessarily.
Yeah.
So like that team being able to work and do their thing within like a much bigger budget seems really exciting. So
Sure.
that's cool. Good take. Moving on right on down the line.
We can skip that.
We saw
We can
We Happy
skip
Few. We saw
that.
PUBG.
Division 2.
Yeah.
That's the next
All
one.
right, here we go.
That's my thing.
We can skip that one. That's all right. Let's move on from
I
Division
will.
2.
The Division 2. Chris Davis.
Yes.
I think he was
Looks
about to
cool.
pull out a
It
knife.
looks. I have a knife right now.
Oh God.
I am armed. I don't personally like the transition to Washington D.C. because I think there's a lot more you can do with New York
We've
than
already
has
thought-
really been tried.
Okay, one thing that
But
kind of blows my mind.
It
Chris
looks
Davis,
really fucking good.
One of the things that kind of blows my mind is how you've played 500 plus
Oh,
hours.
it's like 700?
I passed 700
Yeah.
several weeks back.
Weirdo. 700 hours of the Division, and
Yes.
yet you're disappointed they're
Across
not
3
doing
hours,
more
3
New York in Division 2.
Yeah, because that's a fucking big city.
You know what, Chris Davis? There are thousands of other big cities in the world they can do.
Yeah,
They didn't
absolutely.
even get to Brooklyn or White Harlem or anything.
Okay, Chris Davis, first of all, let me just say this, and we talked about this off the feed, but it's pretty clear that they're probably going to continue to pump Division 1 content out before the release of Division
Yes,
2.
they're doing what's called shields, which are going to be unlockables in Division 1 for Division 2.
So, what do you think the chances are of seeing your beloved Times Square, or not Times Square?
Times Square is in the game.
What's the one you're?
I want Central Park,
Central Park,
which they've been teasing for
Why?
like 2 years.
Why?
because they've been teasing it.
Because they
Who
pitch it as
cares?
this fucking like no man's land.
It's a fucking park in the middle of the city.
There's
It's
a
more than
zoo
that.
in
It's got
it.
a zoo in it. It's got a lake. It's got a
This
shit
has
ton
a
of
zoo
trees
in
and
it.
stuff.
They
This
show.
has a lake.
They show. You're in the
You're
zoo.
literally getting what you want just in a
Dana
different
Barrett's
place.
apartment is on Central Park West. Maybe in the game you could go there and summon Gozer.
There you go.
There we go. Now that
I
took
mean,
a turn.
hey,
That would be
That prediction
Chris
took
Davis,
a turn.
I guarantee you, no matter how disappointed you are that you're not going to get to go into Central Park, you're still going to play 700
But
hours
even
of this
then,
game
like,
too.
you're
no,
probably
yeah,
gonna-
I know, probably.
You're probably going to get Central Park anyway, so who cares?
the variety, the new weapons in the game,
So,
the new
so
abilities
Chris
look
Davis,
pretty cool.
let's talk about the Division. Chris
Okay.
Davis.
Okay.
I've played a little bit of this game. I've probably played maybe 15 hours. I've played a decent chunk of it.
Yeah.
So one of the things I noticed was the Dark Zone. But before we get to there, one of the mechanics, to my knowledge, of how the Division works is you go into the Dark Zone, you do some stuff, you get some loot, you evac out the loot.
Yeah.
And I did think it was interesting in this trailer that it showed them like evacing the loot, not via helicopter, but almost like a portal or some shit. Like they shot up like a
shot
flare.
a flare in the sky,
And then all of a
normally in the Division that would have a helicopter come and land, and you.
Do they have
you
drones come?
defend.
Did drones come pick
Drones
it up?
were introduced in the first major update of the game.
Gotcha.
But they didn't like. They were really just like enemies to shoot.
But
they didn't really have any.
Was the big
gameplay
deal here
effect.
they were suggesting that you can send back your loot without having
loot.
to like evac out of
If
evac
that's
out?
the case, that's really interesting.
That is different. Normally,
'Cause
you had
that
to go to an evac point and summon it, and then wait X amount of time.
Yeah.
But then that also leads to the question of: is there a dark zone in this game?
Yeah.
Or are you constantly in that what we will now not call the dark zone anymore, but just whatever?
Is it the open world, and is there PvP in there? That's the big question. And
I'm sure there's
really
plenty
don't
of
have an
PvP.
I'm
answer
sure
to
there
that.
will be. There's some cool stuff they show. They show there's some combat scenarios going on like on a downed Air Force One in the middle of a park, which was pretty cool. And a foam gun. We saw a little. Shot
That
of
was
foam.
interesting.
Yeah, that's kinda
you had
cool.
kind of locked a character in place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you had to shoot the foam off of your partner's foot to like.
You know what
let
would
him
be
set him
cool?
free?
And what would make me play the Division 2 right now
Yeah.
is if instead of shooting him in the feet, you shoot him in the head. And then they're just running around with a giant fucking thing of foam on their
See, that's
head
the
and
thing,
they
I
can't
have to
see.
wonder.
Yeah.
That might actually be a thing.
That would be interesting.
But the foam gun we saw was being used against the player character, so
Correct.
I'm hoping you actually get to use it yourself.
Oh, I hope so.
But yeah, I mean, I think it looked pretty good. I'm interested.
They had a crossbow in there.
My favorite part of the whole demo though was where we were joking about the closing the car door, and then we saw a police car with the car door open, and we were just screaming,
They
"Close the
didn't
door!"
fucking close it.
But he didn't do it. They had to have done that intentionally. That was
Oh, of course.
That was-
Of course.
oh my goodness.
I mean, that is an achievement in the game.
That's fantastic. Anyway, so yeah, Division 2, I'm sure you're going to play that at E3.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure.
If it's playable on the show
They
floor,
probably know you by name.
no, they don't.
Oh,
Shadows of the Tomb Raider.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which I'm sure we'll see more of that at Square Enix. So
I don't really know what to say about that, honestly.
I mean, it was another cinematic trailer.
It looks like Tomb Raider.
It looks like more fucking
More
Tomb
of this one.
yeah. I'm really hoping that we get like maybe reveal that this is actually kind of like an open.
Hopefully,
game.
there's tombs in the game.
It's like Rise, but like Predator.
There
edition?
were already better tombs
I know.
in the Rise, so I'm hoping it's going to keep happening. I do like the choice of setting with like the like Aztec.
Mayan civilization.
Mayan civilization, like that stuff is pretty cool. But like I'm really hoping they kind of mix up the world structure and stuff a little bit. But I'm sure we'll get a better taste of that at Square Enix. So we'll talk about that later. Session, it looks like
Meh.
So Session, I found out, was a Kickstarter project from developers that worked on Skate,
oh,
and
so
this is their product.
so this is basically
Skate 4.
without it being Skate.
Yeah.
So I know I've heard a lot of people like really wanting another Skate game. So I'm glad they're finally getting that. But we'll see how that turns out. I don't know. That strikes me as another game we probably won't see more of for a while, unless that happens to be playable at the show floor. I have no idea.
Who knows?
After that, what else do we have? Oh my God, there's so much more.
Another fucking trailer
Skip
for Black Desert.
Who cares?
Jump Force was that weird Namco Bandai, probably CyberConnect 2.
I mean, it's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
I mean, a bunch of Shonen Jump characters
I
intermingling
mean, this isn't
and
the
fighting.
first time there's been a Shonen Jump fighting game.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
So for it to
it's
be like a
just-
3D environment like that, then
for someone like me who's really only familiar with Dragon Ball Z, doesn't really do much for me. But
That's fine.
but,
I'm sure
but this is a gateway game for you to get into that
but it's not
I
going to
doubt
happen.
it. Yeah.
But it's not going to happen.
if you really like it.
I want to talk about my most anticipated game of forever now.
So this really is your most? Or,
This is my favorite thing I've seen so far of the show.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I fucking am excited as shit.
Dying Light 2
Dude,
was shown
like,
off,
I'm
which we
fucking
kind of
hyped.
knew
I
was
kind
coming.
of lost my shit when they turned on the black
the black
light.
light. As soon as we saw the black light, yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh fuck.
So, first of all, one thing I'm surprised that they managed to get me so excited for this game despite not showing a single zombie in any of this footage.
That's true.
But Dying Light 2 looks far more ambitious than I ever would have expected. It takes place like 15 years after Dying Light 1, and it's in like a super like vertical world.
She's looking at the dog.
Super vertical, like
It
lots
looks
of.
so much more vertical than the first game.
Yeah.
Like,
And it
holy
seems like
shit.
it almost feels like, as you know, the zombie apocalypse kind of went on, like people tried to like get away from it, like by building
They just
higher.
went up,
Which is cool.
Well, so that was the thing in the original Dying Light. To get away from them, you always went up.
Yeah.
and so I guess they just kept going up.
Yeah,
and so
which
like,
is so cool. But beyond that,
this game seems ambitious as fuck.
so
Yeah.
so the big thing here is that they talked about there's a lot of player choice here, and like when you make decisions, it actually like affects the way the world looks and operates, like the politics of the world, the greenery in the world, like the resources, like the water sources in the world that are available to like, and that influences the way the people in the world live and react to you. Like that's so cool.
So here's something I don't want to say I'm worried, because I'm not. I have faith. But that was one of the things with like State of Decay 2. They added a lot of really ambitious stuff, and that's what it seems like is going on here in Dying Light 2. Is they're adding a lot of ambitious things, like the fact that there are many factions in the world that you interact with, and you can have positive and negative interactions with those factions, and that can affect how the rest of the game goes. So one of the ones they showed was, I decided not to team up with this faction because I want to provide free water to everyone, and then those people became your enemy. But hey, actually, some people prospered more because now there's water available, and they were saying even the fact that you could go up to these fountains now in the world and like heal yourself or whatever at these fountains because there's free water. Or conversely, you could team up with that faction to start selling water on like a black market, and then like the world became almost like worse. I don't know, but that's one of the crazy things is it seems like you can really affect how the world is structured, how the world interacts with you and interacts with each other. That's very ambitious.
But here's the thing that gets me is that it seems like zombies are not out there during the daytime.
Yeah, that was the
They're
big thing.
entirely at night.
They kind of
Kinda seemed like
he even
that.
said it on stage. It suggested that the zombies only come out at night.
Well,
now.
so what I'm thinking is they built up the world enough to where as long as you're at the upper level, you're fine. But it seemed like if you go below, it seems like you can probably go below any time and you'll run into zombies, but they only come out of there at nighttime.
Yeah,
that's
dude,
what it seems like.
I'm so fucking excited to learn more about
Dude,
this.
I'm
We have
excited.
an appointment to play it. I'm so stoked.
I
can't wait to learn more
I saw a
about it.
lot more that he interacted with a moving vehicle in the world. There
Dude,
weren't ever
he was
vehicles.
doing parkour, like flipping, like he slid down. He used a knife to cut down a banner as like
Yeah.
slide down, like Prince
Yeah.
of Persia style. Jumped off of the wall, caught onto the side of a moving vehicle.
So the
Like,
only
oh my
vehicles that
God.
moved in the previous game was in the DLC when it got
Yeah.
to the buggies, and that was really it. There wasn't like other people driving around.
So one
which
thing
is
I'll
gonna be
say, I think this
interesting.
game is going
Which
to be.
I
I
have
think
to
this game is
wonder.
probably going to show a lot of promise. I think it's probably going to be really good. But I also think it's probably going to be one of those games where it's going to be like really ambitious sequel that has some rough edges. But that's okay. Like I think there's plenty of room in the market for like a game like that. It just seems like way more ambitious than this. Like I love Dying Light is kind of taken. Like I was worried they were going to keep going with Dead Island.
Yeah.
Like they even announced Dead Island 2 and that never came out. And I don't
Well,
think
that
it's
was
ever.
Deep Silver.
Yeah, I don't think that game's ever going to come out. Honestly,
And Deep
because
Silver's been bought by THQ, so who knows what
Dying
the
Light
fuck's
is gonna be kind of making that obsolete anyways.
But I wonder. I mean, that they released the following, which was a $30 expansion pack.
That was a huge expansion.
huge expansion.
expansion.
Yeah, like another 20
It
hours
was all
of
about
gameplay.
driving around this very large open areas. Are they just going away from that?
Well, I mean, for this part, I mean,
It seems like that.
It's possible.
But
I mean,
like-
at least in the area of town you're in, where it's like built up. Obviously, you're not really going to be driving around there, but there could be something similar to where there's like maybe some open fields near the town that.
I can't click on that. Oh wait, I can't. I actually have a laptop right in front of me. Why did I was like, I can't click that link except for right in front of me. Oh, I saw that. Jaeger. Thank you. But yeah, I'm totally high. I hope they show some of the zombie stuff at the E3 demo.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll have to.
Yeah. So and and you know who knows? We might even see this pop up at another conference. Who knows? But like Sony, but probably not.
Battletoads, who cares?
Battletoads, who cares?
Just Cause 4.
Just Cause 4.
fucking
has
tornadoes.
Fucking tornadoes.
Holy shit.
Just what it
Crispy.
needed.
Tornadoes.
I'm
At the
excited.
end of the trailer, he fucking drives his car, gets on the roof.
I know, because
gets
what
sucked
else
up in
would
the
you
tornado.
do?
Like,
What else would you fucking do with a tornado in that game?
That's true.
Obviously, you're gonna get in a jet fighter, fly straight in the tornado, jump out, blow up the jet fighter, have fun. It's great. I just wish. I hope like maybe there's a way that you can like set up an oil field to explode as the tornado's like passing over it and just create a giant fire twister or something.
Dude,
That would be so cool.
I have
This is what
I have still
this is what Just Cause needs.
I have still to this day never touched a Just Cause game.
Really?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck
I
up.
wanted to play 3 and I just never got around
Dude,
to
3
it.
is a
was-
pretty good game.
3 was really fun.
I know.
That
but
was my first Just Cause.
I might try and make this my first.
It's
Just
not the
Cause.
most polished game in the world, but it's a hell of
That's
a lot
my
of
question.
fun.
This game comes out in December of this
Yeah.
year. What?
That's
the fuck?
insane.
But
That
again,
is-
that's 3 years to the date after.
half the time the jank is part of the fun, you know? Like
True.
it's good.
I just hope it comes out in a better state than Just Cause 3 did.
Sure.
But who knows? We'll find
All
out.
right. Probably Microsoft's biggest game, Gears Pop. Just kidding. Skip it.
So they announced 3 Gears of War things here. Gears
Yeah.
Pop mobile game, which is using the
Who
Funko
cares?
Pop figures, whatever.
Gears Tactics, though.
Yeah.
XCOM Gears might be the first Gears that I'm into for a while.
I've literally played maybe 20 minutes of a Gears game in my life just
Oh,
because I
wow.
don't really care about them.
That's fair.
That kind of had me excited. An XCOM-esque Gears game.
Yeah.
I could see myself
Definitely
playing
there
that.
for the ex-communists.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. As someone who started Gears of War 4 and didn't finish it, I don't know how to feel about Gears of War 5. I don't think I can't feel myself getting excited about it. Maybe I'll go back and give it another shot. But
I think they missed an opportunity with Gears of War 5 by not calling it Fifth Gear.
what about fourth gear?
Again, there's
We're
some
already
interesting
out of
story
it. What
do you-
implications from
Reverse
4.
gear. They should do a prequel called Reverse.
I'm sure there are. It just seemed weird to me that they chose like such a slow burn of a trailer to show for Gears. Like it was literally like mostly dialogue.
Just a lot of talking.
A lot of talking.
Yeah.
Followed by some quick clips of the action, which looked pretty nice.
And stealth? It looked
Yeah.
like there was a little bit of stealth
But
in
wasn't there some stealth in 4?
Not really, no.
Okay, well, I would love to go back and maybe finish 4 someday. At the time I wasn't really feeling it, but maybe I was just in a mood. Who knows?
Yeah.
One thing we didn't talk about, this was actually earlier, or maybe this was after Gears. I don't remember. But at some point they showed that beautiful little indie game that we saw at PAX South a few years ago that had a
From
really
Finji?
generic ass name, and then they renamed it, and now it's called Tunic. But it looks kind of like
delightful.
Looks so delightful.
Yeah.
Looks like a really beautiful 3D. What
But
would
it's
you
a-
call that?
I'm
It's like a Zelda Link to the Past type game.
there was a game not too long ago, like Ocean something, where it was kind of like that same
Ocean Horn?
Oceanhorn, I think. Whereas it was the Zelda-esque, but it was more 3D, and that's what this is. It almost looks like a 3D model world that you can kind of interact with, go up and down levels and stuff like that. And that's what I get the vibe. Almost like I don't want to use the word Captain Toad, but kind of like that.
Yeah.
You're almost like looking at a 3D model world, and the way you go up and down, interact with different stuff. That seems kind of
It does.
interesting.
It seems
And
beautiful.
and it does look beautiful.
I hope that turns out well.
Fez looking.
Kind of fez,
yeah.
But yeah,
Maybe
just
not as
the way
puzzly, but
the way they're all like, just and I'm having trouble grasping the words, but like the polygons and stuff. How you like
Is that
when-
voxel?
not really voxel. Well, like when you slash like the grass or whatever, and it just kind of like explodes and
Yeah,
it
they're all like,
disappears.
all the
It's-
grass are like perfect, like little pyramids.
Yeah, and it's all very clean cut. And it looks really
It's a
good.
beautiful looking
the
game.
combat actually did look pretty interesting. The way you were doing like some dodges and stuff to avoid enemy attacks, and then
Yeah.
using a sword to
To be
slash
honest,
at them.
I'm glad they showed this at the conference because I kind of forgot it. I thought it was already out and I just
Yeah.
missed it. So the fact that they highlighted it at the Microsoft press conference was actually really cool. So I'm hoping people pick that up and
It's
play
supposed
it.
to come out this year sometime. I don't know.
I
when,
absolutely
though.
intend to play it when it
Oh
comes
yeah,
out.
me too.
And I think that pretty much covers it, right? We
Yeah.
talked about
That's
just
pretty much it
about
from
everything. So if you're watching us live, we're going to be we'll be live for a little while, and then at 8:30 p.m. is the Bethesda conference, and then we'll talk a little bit about on the podcast after that about what they showed at that, and then tomorrow, me, Chris, and Chris Davis, or me, Crispy, and Chris Davis are going to LA to check out the games. We're doing some live commentary of the Sony conference at least. I know we're going to be traveling when the Square Enix and Ubisoft conferences are happening, but we'll probably do some reactions to those when we get to where we're going.
Yep.
So yeah, so far this has been pretty exciting. A lot of cool stuff to be excited about. Hopefully you guys will join us a little bit later this evening for Bethesda, and we'll see you guys in the other half after this short break. We'll come back with the our reactions from the Bethesda conference. So don't go anywhere.
Bye.
See you later.
Hey everybody, welcome back to our.
I had one coming too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? Really?
I just didn't want it to be a shark.
Oh.
Well, Well, that's not
Bethesda.
going. That's not going in the recording.
Oh, you say that.
Oh my god. Can you
I watched the most recent episode of Jersey Shore
Wait,
that I watched. One of the girls crapped
Brad,
herself,
we gotta go.
and
We don't have
she was
time
like
to talk
laughing it
about
off. Ah, ha, ha, ha. But then everyone was like, "Dude, you crapped your pants." Like,
Why are you still
you
here?
can't just laugh that off. And she didn't understand why people kept talking about it. But she crapped her pants.
All right,
Which one was
you
it?
know what? That's a good way to open the show. Welcome back to our first E3 2018 podcast, everybody. We have now officially gotten through 2 of the press conferences. 3. I'm not really counting EA.
I'm talking about Devolver.
Oh shit, Devolver.
Yeah, I count Devolver.
Devolver. We'll talk a little bit about
People are
Devolver.
so mean to EA.
No,
I mean, EA sucks, but they still make games people care about.
Dude,
And
I'm only saying that because they literally removed themselves from the festivities of E3. They're doing their own totally separate thing. E3 doesn't even acknowledge that they're part of E3 anymore.
like Microsoft left E3 too. They're across the fucking street now.
No.
E3's press conference yesterday, Brad, was not. Sorry, EA. That was not E3. That was not an E3 event.
EA's entire booth, quote unquote, happened in an event that ended today. You can't if you're going to
So you can't play.
you can't
their
can't
games?
play anything
No.
unless you went to their thing that happened yesterday and today. So that's unfortunate.
But
That's the
y'all
only-
do know Microsoft is not in the convention center.
Yes,
right?
I know.
Okay.
but they're still part of E3 and they're just in a different location.
Yeah.
They're just across the street. Anyways, that's beyond the point. Anyways, we are now through 3 press conferences. We're going to talk a
4.
little. God damn it, Brad, you're killing me. We talked about Microsoft in the first segment. We have Bethesda to go through now, and we'll talk a little bit about Devolver at the end. We're going to keep this train rolling because Bethesda had some stuff.
Couple things.
Couple things, I suppose.
Who likes those Elder Scrolls Online?
You're getting ahead of us.
Okay.
The card game.
We're going to go in order.
Okay.
We're going to go in order. This is okay, first of all, Bethesda's had some pretty good stuff in the past. It's been kind of hit or miss. Like when you
No, they make fine games.
No, they make
It's
great.
not-
They make great. I'm talking
characters.
about their press conferences. It's 1 year it's great. The next year it's not so great.
But no, I mean it's never that many things though, because
True.
they only have so many projects.
that is true.
Accurate.
So, of course, we open with Pete Hines coming on stage, and we got our first look at Rage 2, which was this weird amalgamation of stuff. We had to sit through an entire Andrew WK performance before we even got to the trailer.
It looked interesting.
Had to sit through it. We got to enjoy.
No,
The problem is the game looks fun and fine,
Those are already
and I'll be
sold out,
happy
by
to
the way.
play it. But they're like overselling it,
That's so sad.
well, I think
right?
I
I mean, what I'm seeing in the gameplay is not reflective of how hard they're trying.
okay. Here's the thing. I think they really were anticipating that being the first time anybody knew about the game. Like, but by the
Sure.
time it was leaked, it was far too late. They couldn't change anything.
But that shit was.
So-
They didn't just throw those trailers together. They like the ones that they showed.
No, but
before
like I
E3.
think everybody would have been a lot more jazzed watching that had they had literally just found out Rage 2 even existed at that very moment. So yeah, they showed a good chunk of Rage 2. That it was kind of a disjointed presentation for it though. Like it wasn't like a walkthrough demo. It was doing all these awkward cuts between different things, showing off the
It looked
combat
cool.
and stuff. I think first of all, the combat in this game, like the gunplay, looks incredibly satisfying. It's very fun, very frenetic. It reminded me a little bit of Bulletstorm.
Bulletstorm, Doom,
Maybe better than I think better than Bulletstorm, but and also like borrowing
Sure.
from some of the best parts of Doom as well. I always like the what do they call them?
Fuck color name
Boomerangs?
is that?
The
What does that even say?
egg rolls. That says egg rolls, Brad. I'm pretty sure. I can't read it.
Egg rolly?
You're killing the podcast.
Sorry, we do a live show here, folks.
We do do a live show here.
Yeah, we don't have enough awkward silences.
Yeah,
By the way,
like press conferences.
speaking of awkward
take a minute.
silences.
We channeled Devolver Digital
like
there.
that.
No,
weird.
No, I think we channeled Bethesda there. It was so bizarre at the Bethesda conference because it was almost
It was
like
not that
no, dude, it was bizarre because it's like they would stop after every 2 words.
They would say a sentence, pause for applause. Say a
Yeah.
sentence, pause for applause.
It was painful, like watching, like trying to get through some of the stuff to get to the game. Like when they first did their press conferences, like the first one, I think they actually had like the production kind of down, and it
Yeah.
keeps getting like worse. Like they just keep getting a little more cringy every year, and like getting
They
the
don't
awkward
know what
pauses.
the fuck they're doing. do
I don't
they?
know. It's kind of a mess. Anyways, so y'all, what do y'all think about Rage 2?
I mean, it looks cool.
It looks
I'm gonna
fun.
try it when it comes out.
Looks
like
interesting.
the
I'm
whole
not, like-
the whole presentation of like, you know, the Andrew WK, that trailer of like crazy. I think they're trying too hard. I think the game looks fine.
Yeah.
You know, it looks fun, but like, oh, the power up makes the screen pink because you know, fucking crazy colors like pink.
Vibrant. Yeah.
It's
They were
like
de-
everybody wants to
Stop
do
it.
like the drab,
Yeah.
weary, like post-apocalyptic wasteland, but they also want it to be really fun and
Yeah.
neon electric colors and just
But-
weird.
I mean,
Borderlands.
but it does,
Yeah.
you know, it's easy to kind of like scoff at that stuff, but it's also like, it does look a hell of a lot more visually interesting than
So-
the original Rage.
There's a lot of hell yeah. There's a lot of stuff too that Avalanche has to pull from.
Yeah.
That you know, if they learned a few things from making Mad Max, and they learned a few things from making the original Rage, and you know, they learned a few things doing Just Cause, and they just like throw that all together into a big shooter. You
Yeah.
know, that could be really cool
Absolutely.
if they learned the right lessons.
Absolutely. I really wish they had focused more time on like what the world, how the
Or
world
the
was
vehicle
structured, or the
combat
vehicle
stuff,
combat,
maybe,
because
yeah.
the vehicle combat's like the one thing that I think was really unique about Mad Max, and I would love to see them expand upon that.
Hey, what they showed in Rage looked interesting.
It
we
does.
just didn't really hear any or know. We don't know anything about
And
it.
then what was that weird? There was a weird like advertisement for the collector's edition in the
That
middle of
was
the
not
presentation.
That was
Cool.
shameless.
That's Bethesda.
That was so bizarre.
the first time we're seeing the game really, and they're just cut to
Yeah.
collector's edition.
And then they moved on to Doom Eternal. We finally got our announcement for Doom 2, which we all kind of I think we're expecting Doom 2 Hell on
Yeah.
Earth. Now here's my question: this is literally just Doom 2, right? This isn't like some kind of weird
seems like just Doom
multiplayer
2.
offshoot or anything.
Don't think so. Battle Royale mode?
Eternal strikes me as some kind of like weird
what could
subtitle you throw in like a multiplayer game or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they said it's
guess.
the next
is
Doom,
Doom 5.
game.
Okay,
yeah.
that's good. I just wanted to
Don't
make sure.
call it Doom 5.
It's Doom 2. We're calling it Doom 2. This is the second proper Doom since they rebooted Doom. Anyways, that looks cool. They showed Hell on Earth. They showed a stoplight. We kind of picked up that it was on Earth. It showed some cool looking demons. Not a whole lot to go off there, but I'm sure that'll be sometime next year. Not really a whole lot to say there. I could not believe they spent so much time talking about Quake Champions.
Yeah.
Again, I thought that game came out and we were done. We were never gonna have to hear about
But
that
Nick,
ever
those-
again.
Quake has the most inviting community.
Oh my
Welcomes
God.
every
Most
Quake dad and
friendly.
Quake baby.
I cannot believe they touted that.
Hopping into like a proper Quake match with people who know what they're doing is pretty much like the curve or the skill divide is probably bigger than any game I can think of. It's like insane.
But yeah, it kind of reeked of desperation.
A little bit.
Well, I mean, it's a thing they made that costs
No, I
money.
know,
They
I
gotta
get it.
try to
I get it.
make people care.
I get it. It was just one of those things where it's kind of, it's just kind of like I was hoping I wouldn't spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes in a press conference hearing about Quake Champions again. But hey, they did it. It's still happening. They're trying to get people back into that game, so that's cool. And then we got, well, at some point we got some Elder Scrolls stuff. I didn't really write the Elder Scrolls
That's
stuff
all right.
down.
None of us care.
Cool.
The mobile game they seemed like they really
Blades.
cared about.
Oh yeah, I was gonna bring that up at the end, but
Okay.
we'll keep going. Prey finally announced some Prey DLC.
The first one seems kind of dumb. Prop Hunt seems kind of cool.
So sadly, like neither of these things are
What,
like
the
a
What
proper.
I wanted.
You're
Yeah.
saying Moon Crash looks
The
kinda dumb?
roguelike thing. Yeah.
The roguelike.
The roguelike.
Mostly
thing,
just
yeah.
because it's a roguelike. But
Because everything they showed of it was pure like crazy combat.
So yeah, and that's my thing. Honestly,
No way I can
all of the Prey I played, I wasn't playing because I enjoyed the combat. The combat was okay. It was I enjoyed exploring that ship or whatever, the space station, and
Yeah.
I enjoyed encountering people and learning about this universe and learning about this world, and yeah, encountering some aliens and taking them out in weird ways. But first, fucking quick saving, because it's not like the combat in that game is like super like accurate. I don't know. I just always had kind of like
yeah,
issues.
it's definitely real floaty.
Which can be, I think, a problem with a roguelike
Yeah.
in that setting. Like, I feel like I would just die a lot.
and it just
I don't know. I mean, I feel like we got a lot of action front loaded because it's a trailer. you know?
Probably.
yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, the concept of a roguelike thing set in the Prey game
Could be
universe
cool.
or whatever, like does not sound immediately bad to me.
No,
that could be really cool.
I certainly want to try both these things. It's just sad because
because
we already kind of
roguelike is usually really lends itself really well to exploration type games, and that I mean I think we all agree that was what Prey really fucking nailed. Was that sense
absolutely.
of space and exploration.
Sure. I'm not sure. I'm questionable as to whether either one of these DLCs are going to kind of capitalize on the kind of the horror aspects of Prey, which I really like the slower paced, just like creeping around, like exploring this environment was really cool. But and it's more of just like we know we're probably not gonna get a Prey 2. You know what I mean? Like I was really hoping for one last hurrah of like proper Prey gameplay, but
yeah, I was hoping for like a standalone thing like what Dishonored did.
Oh yeah, like Set on the Moon.
Yeah,
which would have been cool.
That's what standalone
yeah.
game that's maybe a third of the length of the proper game, but
absolutely
that's what I wanted.
Absolutely. So that's kind of unfortunate.
Well, if these do well,
but honestly, the other one, the second one called Typhon Hunter, sounds pretty cool because it's basically prop hunt.
I mean, I'm not crazy. No one in here kind of confirmed it, but doesn't Call of Duty have prop hunt now?
I think so.
I don't know.
None of us play Call of Duty, Brad.
Yeah. But it's like popular.
So that doesn't mean anything.
But okay,
I'm talking about Chris Davis.
Let's ask chat. Why don't we ask chat? And King Carey says,
here's my thing with the Typhon Hunter thing is it seems like it was like 1v5 is what they said, or 5v1.
Yeah, 5v1.
And that just I don't know how exciting that is to me. So it's 1 hunter and 5 like mimics.
I think so. Yeah.
Or was it 5 hunters and 1 Typhon?
That wouldn't make sense. That's
I don't know how this stuff works.
No, it's probably 5 mimics, 1 hunter.
Correct.
Right?
Anyway, I'm going to try them anyways, just because I like Prey a lot. And I'll take more Prey where I can get it. But a little bit of a disappointment there. They talked about a new Wolfenstein, which this actually looks like it's going to be a standalone expansion standalone project called.
I believe he pronounced it Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein Youngblood. Wolfenstein Youngblood, which is actually set in the same, obviously the same universe as Wolfenstein 2. But it's like I guess it's pretty far in the future where you play as
BJ
Blazkowicz twin daughters, which is cool. That sounds like a cool premise. But at its core, I'm kind of sure it's gonna feel and play more like
maybe people care that it's co-op.
Yeah, that certainly is gonna be where it's gonna probably add the most, the one wrinkle to the formula.
Yeah.
I'm just ready for a new Wolfenstein. Am I right?
All right, Brad. You have something you want to get off your chest? I can tell.
Wolfenstein 3, baby. Woo!
We know how you feel about machine games. You think? What do you think?
I think they're really dope. I think that it's wasted talent at this point. This is their 4th Wolfenstein game in how many years?
True, but also I think Wolfenstein is one of the brands that pays the bills.
I don't
for
think
Bethesda.
so. I think Wolfenstein 2 actually underperformed, so it's actually kind of weird to see this.
I don't know, but I'm gonna play it. They also announced a second Wolfenstein project called Cyberpilot.
Yeah,
which is a VR experience where you can like hack Nazi technology and like use it against them and stuff.
Correct.
They didn't show it, but they did kind of imply that it's going to be playable on the show floor.
You're gonna be able to play as a Panzerhund or whatever they're called. Is that correct, Chris Davis?
Yes.
That could be cool. I don't know. All right, we've made it to the big one. Todd Howard came out.
Elder Scrolls 6.
He crushed my hopes and dreams.
But Nick,
I know. Nick, let me have it.
You can take over a nuke facility.
Don't get me wrong.
Nuke other people.
Fallout 76 looks fun.
Yeah. Also, you weren't.
I hope you're not joking about that because that sounds so awesome.
Dude, that sounds awesome.
That sounds so
Did you
cool.
one expect or two really want a new single player Fallout right now?
I'm just of the mind that if they're going to make a Fallout game, I want it to be a single player experience.
But they're still going to make that.
But Nick, what I can do is I can go on a map and I can meet a friendly person and play with them and help him build a base and then stand back and watch as he spends hundreds of hours on an elaborate base and then nuke it.
That's what makes you an asshole. That's what makes you an asshole.
That would be awesome.
Don't get me wrong. Here's the only reason I'm a little bit disappointed by this. And by the way, let me just say, I do think Fallout 76 looks fun as hell, and I'm probably going to play it. I'm kind of in the same boat with this as I am with Anthem. I think it looks like fun, and I'm probably going to play it. But I just like
So
here's
thing-
my thing. Like, if I want to play Fallout, I want to play Fallout. I don't want to have to worry about trying to get together with a bunch of friends to play
You don't
Fallout.
have to. You can play by yourself. But one thing that was curious, and I know some people in chat also noticed it. In all the video footage of Fallout 76 we've seen so far, we haven't seen a single NPC.
Yep.
Like a person you just walk up to and
Well,
interact
that's not true.
with.
We saw
We saw
in the
Cogsworth
vault,
or
there
whatever,
was-
the robot, yeah. But that's like in most Fallout games generally, you've gone up to a Preston Garvey of sorts or someone, interact with them, and they give you a quest. Now we have heard that there are going to be quests and stuff in this, but we at least as of now haven't seen any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
they didn't
was
really
kinda-
spend a lot of time highlighting. I mean, one thing I think is interesting. First of all, I think the world looks really cool because it's just so, it's such a different time period than we're used to.
And also a bunch of new creatures too.
New enemies look pretty cool.
Yeah.
The atmosphere, the tone's cool. The fact that it's 4 times bigger than Fallout 4 sounds cool. All that sounds great. I think it was kind of interesting that obviously it's because this is a multiplayer game, you don't play with VATS. It's basically just a first-person shooter set in the Fallout universe.
And I will say that Fallout 4 definitely had the best shooting of any Fallout game so far.
True.
The shooting actually was pretty good in that game.
It looks like it could be a lot of fun.
And-
I guess my question is this. Okay, so they did say you can't play it single player, but they did imply correctly that this is online connection required no matter
You can play
what.
single player, but there will be other people in the world who are other players. You just don't need to play with them necessarily.
But
still a
if
multiplayer
I'm not
game.
connected to the internet, can I play this?
No, this is not that kind
I
of
don't
game.
think so.
This is a Rust-like.
Yeah.
See, that's where I'm disappointed, man.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, it's like when Nosgoth came out, I wouldn't have been mad if like I knew there was a real Legacy of Kain game coming down the line, but that
like,
wasn't
dude,
the case.
But we're gonna talk this at the end. But the next 2 projects aren't Fallout. This is the only Fallout in the foreseeable
Nick,
future.
we just had a Fallout.
I know, but I want to get excited for this one with everybody else.
Nick,
That's
did
my
you
problem.
finish 4?
That's not the point.
Then go play that.
I'm going to.
There you go. There's your Fallout.
I think the mistake is getting excited by any Fallout game.
Why?
Like,
No, they're great games, and I love them and I enjoy them. But
I would really not
but-
have been ready for a new
but
one.
the
I
amount
wasn't
of
either, but we got one,
The
and I wanted to be
amount of-
excited about it.
ambient hype just in the atmosphere anytime somebody even hints at a Fallout game is
I am-
completely disproportionate.
I am
to-
not saying that I wanted them to announce a new Fallout game. I think it's too soon.
well, then you should just go play Skyrim on your Amazon Echo.
I just
that would have been cool. That was
I
probably the best moment of the Bethesda
That
press
was.
conference.
yes,
Was
their funny like joke about Skyrim coming out on Alexa
everything.
and,
On
and your
fridges.
refrigerator.
Yeah.
That was great with Key Michael Key. That
Yeah.
was so good.
Yeah,
But like
they should have just had more of that.
that was the best part. I do like the whole thing about being able to like track down the launch codes for the nukes and fire them. And so, do they kind of imply that you can fire the nukes into an area, like nuke it, and then go explore that?
Yeah, you know
that
that's
radiated
that's the thing. It's
So,
like,
what does
go-
that mean for the map? Is it persistent? Like, is your
Maybe.
world persistently like that?
Well, he said. Well, here's the weird thing. He said there's no servers, which is a weird thing to me. Like in most like Brad was saying, a Rust style game, when you log in, you choose where you want to go. Oh, I want to log into this server and play here.
Yeah.
But he was saying that this has no servers. So yeah, that's going to be very interesting.
I think it's
as a-
more
He said-
random.
Dedicated server.
He
Yeah,
said,
he's
I know he
dedicated
said
servers.
he
dedicated
said you're never
servers.
going to see a server.
But he said you're never going to see a server.
It's
is
the
what he
way.
said.
That's the way fucking.
Oh, so you don't make the
Destiny
choice;
is.
it just kind
Correct.
of
It puts
assigns
you-
you one.
And so that was my other question, is he mentioned you can move your base. And they showed that kind of collapsible, almost TF2 like turret
camp
style
thing.
thing. Yeah, the camp little box that you set it down and it unfolds and stuff. And I'm just curious as to how movable and stuff that is. So like if I log out of the server, does my base come with me?
That's a good
I would
question.
imagine.
Because the cool thing about Rust was that like if you just had to go to fucking sleep, there could be someone like trying to break into your fucking house, and all of a sudden you're like calling your friends saying, "Wake the fuck up, we're being attacked."
Yeah.
See, I like that stuff. The good.
Well, then it's not going to be like that.
I
in
mean,
this,
the
don't
good
think.
news is like they are doing a beta for this, so I will
Yes.
definitely jump into the beta, and if that's a good opportunity for me to try it out and decide if it's something I want to actually try or try to play. It's coming out November
November 14th.
14th, 2018. So that's definitely a 2018 game. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And we'll be playing. I bet you were saying there was rumors about July, so maybe the beta is going to be in July. They didn't say when
Well,
that's
yeah,
happening.
I mean
right?
that was not.
Yeah, no, the beta's not up right now. Apparently their site did go down just because everyone's trying to find out about it. But yeah, that would make sense that maybe July is the beta. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, Fallout 76. I am cautiously optimistic. I just want to kind of play it myself a little bit before I make a decision. Either way,
The thing is, I'm like you, right? I don't typically see myself playing this kind of game, but you know,
it looks cool.
like some games just aren't for you or us or me.
I
You know?
Oh, I get it.
Fuck
I get it. I totally get it.
It's coming from a healthy company, so I ain't worried.
Yeah, I'm really not happy about the new direction that Devil May Cry is taking. So
Well, this guy never cared
Well,
about
now
that.
Crispy's just trying to fucking jab at me. Oh my god.
All right, Nick. What else was in the
Fucking
press?
Elder Scrolls Blades.
Fuck. Elder Scrolls Blades.
Well, they also announced Fallout Shelter coming to
Whatever. Yeah.
just
Everything.
coming
Switch,
to
and
console.
yeah, it's everything.
console, including Switch,
Um,
which is cool.
That is cool. But yeah, Blades. It looks kind of not great. The weird thing is it's like when they showed it, and I'm like, oh yeah, this looks like an Elder Scrolls game on mobile, and they're like, yeah, and it's gonna be on PC, and I'm like, why would I play that?
So play a good game on your PC.
Yeah, like why would I play a mobile-based game that's very like slow and clicky and kind of like on my PC? Like why would I do that?
I recommend the Legend of Grimrock series.
Now he did mention
I've always
that
wanted
is
to
a
play
good
that.
game. He did mention that I think he was saying you could play it across them, so I could play it on my phone and then maybe pick it up on my PC, and
Yeah.
maybe that would be good.
He
I
did
guess
imply that's
if,
persistent,
If
I
I'm like
believe.
at my desk at home and like my phone's battery's low, I could just maybe play it there if I really want to for some reason. But I still don't really understand why.
I don't foresee a lot of people playing this,
Yeah.
but I could be wrong. Fallout Shelter is huge for them. This is
It just
another free project.
It seems weird that like they built this coming out of the success of Fallout Shelter, and they're
Yeah.
like, okay, well, we need to get a similar product going for Elder Scrolls, right? And it seems kind of like the way they were not the way they're presenting it, but like he said, oh, the main part of the game is your village, and it seems like everything is just kind of like pouring back into building up this village that you have, right? But that's not at all. They didn't like show hardly any of that.
They
They
didn't.
just showed like really clunky, like point and click dungeon crawling.
He
Yeah.
also
Like-
mentioned that Susie over here in her office playing in portrait mode
Yeah, like,
could be
with
playing
one
against
hand.
somebody on VR. Like that was weird. I didn't really understand that what he mentioned when he said that.
Definitely weird.
I recommend
Oh,
FTL
there was something
or Darkest
mentioned
Dungeon.
that was going to be in VR that kind of excited me. That I was like, oh, I might play that. What was that?
Well, it said a lot of these experiences. I mean, the prop hunt thing they said was going to be in VR.
That was it.
That
yeah, I
really
think that was the one.
that really kind of rings of something that like their executive board or their shareholders were like, oh well, you got a good one with Fallout, do another one for this other franchise you got. Like they
Yeah.
don't. Yeah.
It kind of reached.
I don't think Todd's up there selling it
No,
thinking,
no.
oh,
Well, and-
you guys are gonna love this.
And that's what I
Like-
said. Like when Todd was like selling the game, I'm like, he didn't even look that excited about it. I'm sure it's just, like you said, it's a scenario where the people who have the money and make the decisions were like, this one made us money, do this now. And
Do it
he's like,
again.
okay, boss.
Absolutely. And then the last two for Bethesda obviously are the two big ones, but they're also the least
The like two smallest yet
two smallest. Obviously, they came out and they were they showed the next big next
next big
big
logos.
original IP from
Finally, a confirmation that Starfield is
the first new IP in 25 years
What?
from Bethesda.
Okay,
Yeah.
what does that mean? Why does everyone like? What is Starfield?
It's their next big RPG.
No, but I mean,
Bethesda's-
everybody was like sitting here talking about like, oh, Starfield. They're gonna announce Starfield. Oh my god, I hope they show Starfield.
It's been
I've
leaked for
never
a long
heard
time.
of this.
It's been
It
leaked
leaked-
for a long time.
at least a long time ago.
What is it supposed to be?
It's Elder Scrolls in space.
Yeah.
It's Fallout or Elder Scrolls set in a sci-fi
They make
world.
one type of game. Now they're doing one in space,
Yep.
and that is fucking exciting because
It changes
what is
everything.
great about Elder Scrolls is not really these universes. It's that type of game that they make.
in space,
Okay,
Crispy.
no, it seemed like everybody kind of was on it.
No, they were.
Like knew what this thing was.
Because people
and
were like,
that's
when
all
are they
that
gonna,
exists.
When are they going to
Is that-
reveal?
Is that little 5 seconds? That they
Yeah.
said?
Oh no,
yeah,
I'm
no.
sure,
leaked,
I'm
like,
sure
what was it,
more.
like, 2
All-
years
all
ago?
we knew was what a working
Was
what
the-
we thought was a
the
working
word
title.
Starfield?
Yeah.
So,
and
but
then it would be
Bethesda.
futuristic.
and I think people were expecting tonight to find out
what
definitively
Starfield
what that
is.
was, but instead
they
we got.
showed a spaceship, right?
Yeah, but
They
I think
showed a satellite.
I think people were
Satellite?
expecting our first
That got
playable
a
play
satellite,
demo or
sure,
something.
satellite that got
That's-
sucked into
that's
like a
the
black
best
hole
way
or
to-
something.
You know,
But-
Probably
Lightspeed.
been working on this since Fallout 4 concluded.
Probably.
Oh,
I
I'm
don't
sure
know.
they have,
like
man.
like this was a fair tease. What came after it was bullshit.
Complete. Because the thing is, they said that Starfield was a next gen game.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
which
that's-
implies
Starfield's
we're
not
gonna,
even current gen.
which means we're not going to be playing this on PS4 or Xbox One.
Or
Well,
not necessarily.
theoretically.
We're not going to be playing it in the next year or
They're
two.
hedging their bets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they did announce what comes after the game that they have not like finished working
Started
on.
making.
Yeah.
They have a game they couldn't even show us anything beyond a the smallest of teasers, and then they decided to show us something beyond that.
Yeah.
Which is of course what everyone's expecting is Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
it's not even like it doesn't even have a name.
Yeah, not even a
I
subtitle.
mean, in fact, the logo is just the Elder Scrolls like font.
yeah.
So even that's not new.
With the number
Probably
6.
The
Yeah,
biggest
yeah.
the biggest thing with the tease here was they were trying to kind of hint at the setting of this world. I don't know Elder Scrolls lore enough to kind of know what they were
It
teasing,
looked like nature. It looked like a fantasy setting. Whatever.
but it looked like an oceanside.
Oh, did it?
Yeah,
there was a big
the
ocean
ocean
off
like
in
bumped
the
up right
distance,
against
yeah.
the edge of the continent.
I don't know. You guys, if you're assuming that
Well,
is it anything beyond them just like looking at generic Elder Scrolls assets they have and going, put the logo over that.
No,
That's
no,
what
I agree. Like, I honestly don't think what we saw is going to be in the game. I really don't.
Do you know,
I think, like Todd was saying, he was just like, guys, don't forget, we make Skyrim, or we make Elder Scrolls games, not just Skyrim, and we're working on the next one.
Dude, Puff and Cloud in chat says, forget about Elder Scrolls 6. It's at least 3 years away. Dude, I think Starfield is at least 3 years away.
My guess is 2022 to 2023.
Don't say those years. Gross.
Right? Right? That sounds like a fucking
That's
million
the
years
legit
from now.
future.
But honestly,
That's the world we live
that's
in.
Henry will be in elementary school.
That's when I think that game will come out. 2022 to 2024, somewhere around there.
Here's where Elder Scrolls is. I'm sorry. I once bought an Elder Scrolls like fictional novel. You know, like a novel.
Yeah.
And like
Like a
I was
book.
about to read it, and then I was like, come on. There can't be anything in here that's even remotely interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dude, you know what would
The
have?
Golden Spire.
What you know?
And
What
I read all the Dragon
I
Age
honestly
books.
would have been impressed if Todd would have announced a game after Elder Scrolls 6. If he's like, but you know what?
Yeah,
After
just
that,
make it a fucking joke.
if he's
It'll
like,
become a meme
if
now.
he's like releasing games or talking about games that they're going to release in like a decade,
If we're still a company.
if we haven't gone under,
It's just kind of sad because it's
Yeah.
like the only reason they even did that was because like the top of the line management at Bethesda are probably having stress streams of like, oh my god, if we don't say something about Elder Scrolls at E3 this year, we're gonna get eviscerated.
So
like
Puff and Cloud's like, oh well, unless they hire an outside developer, but they're not going to do that for their core game. Like
No.
they all their outside, yeah, like Avalanche did Rage 2, Obsidian did Fallout Vegas, like or yeah, like you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
they
Like-
would never hire Obsidian to make Fallout 5.
Like Bethesda is
Yeah.
going to be the company who makes Fallout and Elder Scrolls games. That's it. They're not going to like, and the fact that Starfield is a new IP, they're not going to sell that out to someone either. Like these are games they're making in house. Like the thing is like Fallout 76, they didn't make that. Or they didn't make all of it. I mean, they outsourced
they canceled the game.
Battlecry to make, which and it's not Bethesda. That's what I'm saying. Because they wanted to
Because
make
they're
that
working
game,
on a
but they
Fallout
didn't want to spend all of their time on that, and they also, I don't want to say they don't care as much.
It almost came across as like we're gonna buy the studio and rename it Bethesda just because we don't want any other name other than Bethesda Studios on that
working
game.
No,
on a
it's because
Fallout
the name of the studio was super embarrassing.
Yeah, that's true,
Because
too.
they were named after a
failed
project
game.
that got canceled.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's also the fact that, like I said, this is a Fallout game.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to put Bethesda on it. But once again, this is not honestly, this is literally Fallout 4's engine just reimagined. Like a bunch of the assets, I'm
Yeah,
sure like
sure.
90% of the assets are the same and stuff like that. So I mean, it's literally they're like, hey guys, we made this game, change up the map, make it a little bit bigger.
He was
add
talking
nukes.
about new technology that was
Yeah,
incorporated
I'm
into the
sure.
engine, which
I'm sure
sounded
there
cool,
is.
but that's all marketing speak. So I don't know. There's things to be excited about here, and don't get me wrong. I'm excited for Starfield. I'm excited to see what Elder Scrolls 6 actually is. But both those games are. We're gonna see those games again,
Years.
like for at least 2 or 3 more
Years.
E3s before we even
Or
get our
not.
hands on it, or not, or it could just vanish. We never hear about it again until it's like almost
3
ready to
years
come
from now,
out.
we're gonna be like, remember
cheapened it,
when
man.
fucking Todd Howard said Elder Scrolls
Remember when they
6?
first like really revealed Skyrim? Tears, man.
You mean the official gameplay
Yeah,
trailer?
yeah, like that
Dude,
first one.
I still
Yeah.
watch that trailer at least like every other
The
month.
one with the music, the dragon
Yes,
one.
yes. And compare that to how cheap this bullshit was.
Someone sent me that trailer because I don't remember it.
Dude, Nick, I have
Oh.
it bookmarked. I fucking love that.
We'll watch
trailer.
it. We'll watch it. All right, we need to let's.
All
we
right.
have a couple more things to cover. That was Bethesda.
Yeah.
We actually stuck around and watched the Devolver Digital
So far,
conference.
best conference of the year
Holy shit!
by far.
Wow.
It's just I fucking love that everything we made fun of in EA and in Microsoft and Bethesda, they almost touched on all of it in
Yeah.
their conference. Like the fucking his like
The awkward
45-second spiel of like fucking key phrases and words
And, like,
just
sort of
like
making-
strung together.
Like stringing together like the most complicated bullshit marketing speak.
Yeah.
Like that was so good.
It's I mean that and he's like that's what you're here for. And the second lady, you know, I forget her name now. I always forget her name.
Nina?
Yeah, Nina
character?
comes out and she's like talking about, "Oh, and we're just going to fucking take your money cuz you pay for it. You give us like just straight up saying like you buy the dumbest
I mean,
shit."
it's kind of nice. Like they don't. They're making jokes, but they're
Yeah.
also like not beating around the bush. So we
They-
want
they
your
walk
money.
this really weird line between
Well,
satire and lampshade hanging. And it's
Devolver
just
always
like,
has. I mean,
it's-
look at the games. They published
I
a
know,
game
I know.
called fucking Penis in the Butthole.
Genital joust.
Oh.
Genital Joust. Genital jousting.
Sure.
Devolver
No, I
published
know,
a
they're-
game about a penis going in a butt.
They're the cool publisher. I know. Like,
Did they show that at the conference last year?
They did not.
No, because that.
Offsite.
Offsite.
Yeah, no,
they
we saw
published
that.
it. They weren't going to put it on the big screen, but they published
Dude,
it.
I felt weird sitting at their booth, like playing that.
Yeah.
Especially considering I was out on the street.
You remember when that one like kid came up?
Dude, the
And
best
they-
part was the best part of Devolver was that part where like they were doing a show and you just see the kid walk up in the background and like sit down. They're like, somebody get he can't get him off
You can't
that.
play that.
that
He's
was the day
playing,
before
that
they
young child is playing genital joust.
That was the day before they replaced all the controllers with dildos.
Yep.
Remember?
Nick, those weird feelings that you were experiencing playing genital jousting, that's called a boner.
Thanks, Brad. I wasn't
But
entirely
yeah, so
sure.
they did talk about a couple things.
Yeah, so they had
Yeah.
only three announcements, but most of them look pretty cool. The first one was Scum,
Scum. Yeah. it's gonna be
which
Battle
looked
Royale
funny
game.
and cool and creative. It looked like they dropped Crow Team in there.
No, but Nick, it's an online battle royale game. You're not supposed to be.
I don't
excited
have the
about
highest expectations from games.
You're not
from
allowed
Red.
to be excited about that, Nick.
I don't even know how to respond.
It looks good. It looks
I don't
really
even know
good.
how to respond.
You know what I want? The Talos Principle too.
Ah, damn.
I would love the Talos
So
Principle too.
stupid.
I was surprised we didn't. Wait, where are we gonna see? They keep talking about Serious Sam. What is the thing at?
$150.
Holy God. Okay, so that was the funny. They brought up Loot Coin Box, right? That's what it's called.
Loot
Or
box coin.
Loot Box Coin.
They brought up the fact that people buy loot boxes and they're dumb, and they brought up the fact that cryptocurrency is now a big thing, and they're
And
like, you know
that's
what?
dumb.
We're gonna sell you something that has no value. You can't like trade it. You don't know what it's actually worth, and blah blah blah. And
it's
then
not worth-
well, it's not. I mean, it's worth whatever you pay for it, I guess, because you bought it.
I guess, but you can't exchange it for
yeah.
that value.
I mean, I guess they can do that, can't
I
they?
mean,
they can do whatever they
It's
want.
basically, do you want to spend $150 to be one of the cool kids who's
Yeah.
in on the joke?
Yep. So the thing is, they were saying like cryptocurrency, its price is going to fluctuate every hour. So at one point it was 132, and then 113. Now it's 150. Yeah,
Is there a ceiling? They're not going to let somebody pay more.
dude. If
Oh,
someone wants
God.
to pay $1,000 for it, they're not going to say no. Nick, she said that.
I
She was
know.
like, "Give us your money."
I mean, she's base. Yeah, you're not wrong.
This is like their version of Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah, the Cards Against Humanity will do dumb stuff like the what was the box of shit or whatever.
Yeah, box of bullshit.
Box of bullshit. Do you remember that, Nick?
No.
On Cards Against Humanity, was that Black Friday?
Yes, it was actual.
Black Friday or something like that.
Actual cow
It was
shit.
a box of bullshit, and if you bought it, they literally sent you a box that had cow shit in it.
Not to mention the holiday hole.
Yeah, the holiday hole, where every person who paid money, they would dig a hole deeper, and that's it. They dug a big hole.
So this isn't the first time we've seen this kind of behavior.
Yeah, why not?
All that stuff seems illegal.
You know, the one thing, the one thing that I am genuinely excited to play from Devolver Digital, was
yes.
My Friend Pedro. I think that game looks.
That looks fucking.
That
awesome.
game looks so
That game looks
fun.
great.
Like, just doing all kind of acrobatics and like
slow-mo shooting.
Slow-mo.
Like,
And like the fact he threw that frying pan in the air and then shot the guns and like ricocheted the bullets off and do different directions. Like, that stuff looks crazy fun. I really hope they have that on the floor because I would love to try that game. Well, they're probably going to have that in their booth.
No, I'm sure they will. Oh, no, 100% they will.
And then they announced a remaster of
Metal Wolf Chaos.
A localization of remaster of Metal Wolf Chaos, which is really kind of cool and exciting because it was an original Xbox game that only came out in Japan. Which, think about that, an Xbox game
an Xbox
that
game.
only came out in Japan from Software. It was a mech game. You were a mech. You were the president in a crazy mech. I can't believe it's kind of loved for its because it did have English back in the day. Like the cutscenes had spoken English. And it was
well, that's what you're saying. The remaster of this has all the original English.
Yeah, which is
the original
good
voice
because
acting.
it's like insane. I was watching on Friday. We were watching cutscenes from that game.
Yeah,
the shit was so fucking funny. It's so funny, and it's cool because there was really no good way to play it because original Xbox emulators kind of don't exist. Like in any proper form. So there was really no good way to play that fucking thing. And so this is pretty cool.
According to Bisque in chat, Metal Wolf Chaos is a missile launcher that shoots sharks.
Absolutely, I'm in.
Cool.
But yeah, that's happening. Also, quick I thought that when they were doing the whole spiel about like what other conferences do to like distract you from like the shit they're actually showing and stuff, and then they were talking about cameos, and then Greg Miller came on. That whole stick was really funny. Like I like their conference was by far the most entertaining. To watch.
Yeah, Dave Link hologram. The fact that like this conference I had a big fucking dumb goofy grin on my face the whole time.
Yeah, I can't believe the fucking URL they used for Metal Wolf Chaos though.
Yeah.
MechAmericaGreatAgain.com. Jesus Christ. Okay, I think that just about sums up the day. It's been fun. We appreciate everybody who stuck around and hung out with us today and watched all the conferences and joined us for our live commentary. Like I said, we're going to be traveling tomorrow, but we're going to be in LA in time to live commentate the Sony press conference, and we'll do some post-show reactions to Ubisoft and Square Enix once we get to where we're going. So hopefully you guys can join us for that tomorrow. Stay tuned. We'll post our times when we're going to be live on Twitter and stuff, and in Discord, which you can find
tomorrow. I'll be live with Square Enix.
Yeah, Brad's going to do Square Enix. Wait, did you say you're going to do Ubisoft? Maybe Ubisoft?
Ubisoft is a maybe for now.
Okay. Brad is going to be commentating at least Square Enix tomorrow.
Henry's got to go to the doctor.
Yeah. So, and then after that, you can catch me and Crispy and Chris Davis from LA. We'll be live commentating Sony. And yeah, we'll be in LA all week. We'll be on the show floor playing stuff and recording podcasts every night per usual. We're also doing a community meetup on Thursday night. If you're interested in going, or if you think you might be able to attend, if you're in the area, please go to 4playernetwork.com, find the post, and leave us an RSVP in the comments. We just want to have like an idea of how many people to expect. That's going to be Thursday after the show floor closes. And yeah, we hope you guys will join us. We're excited. We still have Square Enix, Ubisoft, and Sony, and Nintendo. Nintendo's Tuesday morning, so we'll be live commentating that as well before we head to the show floor, I think. Yeah. The show floor I think opens pretty late on Tuesday. So yeah, we still got more conferences to go. There's already been some pretty exciting stuff, and we're very much looking forward to seeing what they have in store for us tomorrow. So good night, and I guess we'll see y'all tomorrow.
E3 bitch.
E3 bitch.